Subtitle: The Forgotten Room. The wind howled through the trees as I made my way down the narrow street. The air was thick with an unsettling chill that clung to the skin, making the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. I had been here before, of course. We all had. But that was years ago, when the house was just a curiosity, something to be whispered about by children, a thing of legend. But tonight, it was no longer just a legend. It was real, and I was standing at its threshold. The house loomed before me, a decaying skeleton of what it once was. Its windows were dark, lifeless eyes staring out into the night. The porch sagged under the weight of time, its wood weathered and gray, giving off a sense of foreboding. As I stood there, I couldn't help but feel the weight of its history pressing down on me, its secrets buried deep within the walls. I had always wondered about it, heard the stories, and felt the fear creeping in whenever someone dared to speak its name. But there I was, standing in front of the old house, my hand trembling as I reached for the rusted gate. I pushed the gate open, its hinges squealing in protest. The sound sent a shiver up my spine, the first of many that would follow. The gravel crunched underfoot as I stepped onto the path, my flashlight flickering weakly, as if reluctant to illuminate the darkened corners of the world before me. Each step I took felt heavier, as if the earth itself was warning me to turn back. The porch steps creaked under my weight, each groan adding to the growing sense of dread. I paused at the front door, my breath catching in my throat. The door was slightly ajar, as though it had been waiting for me, but I wasn't sure if that was a welcome or a trap. The wind picked up, sending a chill through my bones, and I pushed the door open, stepping into the darkness of the house. The silence that greeted me was suffocating. It was the kind of silence that felt alive, as if the house was holding its breath, waiting for me to make the first move. I shone the flashlight ahead of me, and the beam caught the peeling wallpaper, the dust-covered furniture, the abandoned remnants of lives that once lived here. The air smelled musty, stale, like something long forgotten. I moved forward, each step echoing in the empty hallway. The floorboards groaned beneath my feet, the sound oddly comforting in a way, as if the house itself were trying to reassure me. But it was a hollow comfort. I knew better than to trust it. The door slammed shut behind me with a violent bang, making me jump. My heart skipped a beat. I turned quickly, rushing to open it, but the door was locked now, solid, unyielding. I was trapped. I felt the weight of the house press in on me, the air thickening, making it harder to breathe. The flashlight flickered again, its light wavering as if it too was afraid of what lay ahead. I swallowed hard, forcing my feet to move forward, deeper into the house. I tried to focus, telling myself it was just an old building, that it couldn't possibly be as bad as the stories had claimed, but deep down, I knew that wasn't true. I had heard the whispers, the rumors of the room at the end of the hall, the room no one ever spoke of aloud. It was said that once you went into that room, you could never leave. The hallway stretched on in front of me, its dark shadows pulling at the edges of my mind. I forced myself to keep moving, to keep my focus sharp. But the silence was unbearable. It pressed in on me from all sides, a weight I couldn't shake. I passed door after door, each one as empty and forgotten as the last. But then at the far end of the hallway, I saw it. A door that seemed different from the others. It was the same in every way, yet it felt like it was calling to me. My heart beat faster, and I felt my feet moving of their own accord toward it. The door was old, its wood warped by time and neglect. The knob was cold to the touch, the metal tarnished and rusted, but I didn't hesitate. I turned it, slowly, cautiously. The door creaked open, and a cold rush of air hit me. The room beyond was pitch dark, and the only sound was my own ragged breathing. I stepped inside, my flashlight trembling in my hand as I shone the beam across the room. The space was vast, stretching farther than I had anticipated. The walls seemed to close in on me as I moved deeper into the room. The air was frigid, and it was hard to tell if it was the temperature or something else. Something older, something that had been here long before me. And then I heard it. A low, almost imperceptible sound. At first I thought it was just the house settling, the creaking of old wood, the sounds of a place long forgotten. But no, it was something else. A whisper. It was faint, barely audible, but it was there. I froze. The whisper seemed to come from all around me, like it was coming from the walls themselves. The sound grew louder, clearer. It was a voice, soft and insistent, beckoning me forward. I wanted to turn and run, to escape before whatever was in this room could reach me. But my legs refused to move. I was rooted to the spot, unable to tear my gaze away from the shadows at the far end of the room. The flashlight flickered, its light dimming and sputtering as if it were on the verge of failure. And then, in the pitch-black darkness, I saw it. A figure. I couldn't make out its features at first, but I knew it was there. A shadow, moving in the corner of the room. It was tall, impossibly tall, its form shrouded in darkness. And then the whisper came again, louder now, so close that I could feel it against my skin. I wanted to scream, to run, to escape, but my throat was tight, my breath shallow. The figure stepped forward, and I caught a glimpse of its face. It was pale, sickly white, with hollow eyes that stared at me, unblinking. Its mouth was twisted into an unnatural grin, one that made my skin crawl. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. It spoke. But the words were not words. They were a low, guttural sound, a language I didn't understand. But somehow, I knew what it was saying. I knew exactly what it wanted. You shouldn't have come here. The words rattled in my mind, and I felt the room closing in around me. I stumbled backward, my feet tripping over something in the dark. But there was no way out. The door had disappeared. The walls were now shifting, bending and twisting, like the house itself was alive. I tried to scream again, but nothing came out. My body felt frozen in place, my limbs stiff and unresponsive. The figure drew closer, its hollow eyes locked on mine. It's too late. The darkness swallowed me whole. And just like that, I was no longer alone. The house was alive. I woke up in the same place I had entered. I was standing in the hallway, but everything had changed. The door was still locked, and the shadows had grown darker. The whispers, though, they were gone. The air was still. The only sound now was my own heartbeat. The house had claimed me, and now I was part of its story. End.